Hey guys, so right now I am currently outside. I made it to California. Look out for a California vlog. I vlogged a little bit as I was driving, but it was an 18-hour drive and I did it in one day. It was a bit extreme, so I don't have a vlog yet. And a lot of it might be me explaining the drive. But anyways, today I wanted to talk about INFJs and leadership. Being the rarest type, I don't think there is many examples, at least, of everyday people that are INFJ leaders. If you look on celebritytypes.com, which I don't know how accurate a lot of them are, there are a lot of leaders that were allegedly INFJ, like Mahatma Gandhi, even Jesus, and tons of leaders like that. And there's also a lot of dictators and bad people on that list as well. So I think INFJs have a very unique leadership style. At least in my experience, I've been in a lot of leadership positions, luckily, especially in college, and I will share with you kind of how I was as a leader and things that I want to improve in the future to be a better leader. So for me as a leader, first of all, I don't do very well as a follower. And it's not that I can't take commands or I can't stay in line. I'm actually very obedient and I do follow the rules. But I really don't like to be told what to do, and I mean that doesn't just apply to INFJs, but I don't do well with micromanagement and I don't do well being told what to do. I like to do things my way. I mean, I definitely like to learn from people and see what is successful, but I do best when I am the person that is deciding what I'm going to do. I'm very self-sufficient in that way, and I do best when I kind of am on the path and then people tell me things that I may be doing wrong or I could do better. But I do better when someone doesn't direct me in the beginning. So that being said, as I've disclosed in other videos, I was a part of a lot of organizations in college. I was in Model United Nations, Model Arab League, Model European Union, Model High School Model United Nations, which was basically a conference that our university hosted for high school students. I was a resident assistant. I was in French Club, and there's a lot of other organizations that I'm not naming right now, but that I was a part of. And in Model UN, the first year, I was really trying to get to a point that I could even speak in front of people and be comfortable, because as I've said as well in previous videos, when I was in high school or even before that, I used to shake and cry in front of people. And then in Model UN, I was expected to, in every meeting, deliver a speech about whatever topic we were talking about. Or in competitions, which there are many competitions where I had to speak in front of hundreds of people, depending on what committee I was in. And that really took me out of my comfort zone, and I think as an INFJ, doing something like that really does take you out of your comfort zone. We're not at least for me, I don't like to be in the spotlight. I am definitely one that likes to be on the edges, but I had to learn to be able to be in the spotlight, because when delivering speeches or talking with people, all eyes are on you, or at least mostly. Some people are not paying attention, but and you have to be a leader. You have to be able to make caucuses. In unmoderated caucuses, you have to be able to get people together and express your ideas, especially if you're a smaller country, which I was some of the time. I was Palestine in one of my committees, and that was not even considered a state in the General Assembly, but we ended up making Palestine, or at least in GA, we made Palestine a state, and that was because we worked with other people. But had we just been twiddling our thumbs and not trying to step out and be a leader in that committee, we would have been easily dismissed. So that being said, I eventually became leadership in Model UN. I was never a captain, even though I did run to be captain. I didn't win, but I was a leader of a country chair, which essentially is leading that country. And I think Model UN can show, at least in that, when I was in the club in my college or university, I think that really shows how some of the flaws that I had as a leader. I wasn't the best at delegating, and this can be shown in a lot of the stuff that I was a leader in. I think this also ties into INFJs. Delegating is really hard, especially when we feel like we know better or we can do it better. But if you overload yourself with too many tasks, and even if you're able to do it for a little bit, it becomes very hard to be able to put up with that. And that became a toxic environment for me in general, even besides the leadership aspect, and I won't go into that now. But I ended up moving on to other clubs, and before that I was president of French Club, which, again, I think I lacked delegation skills and communication skills. That was my biggest flaw. But I would say one of my biggest strengths as a leader, in both French Club, Model UN, regardless of whether I was in leadership of Model UN, and Model European Union, which I ended up being assistant captain at first and then captain, was I'm a very inclusive person. And I would say a lot of INFJs, this is one of our strengths, is we are very inclusive. And many INFJs, if not all, really love people. We actually care about people more than other types, even some of the extroverted types. And I truly care about people's success, and I want people to do better. And I've always believed that you're only as strong as your weakest link. And for me, especially, that's shown through when I was captain or assistant captain of Model European Union. I tried to let everybody know that they mattered, that everybody had a place, and that didn't matter where you started from, because clearly I started from the very bottom. Anybody can be successful. Anybody is able to be a leader in their own right. Everybody has their own strengths. And that's the advice that I would give to any INFJ that's wanting to be a leader. You have to speak up, come into your own, and realize that you are able to accomplish anything you put your mind to. And it's not just like some hocus pocus, whatever bullshit that you hear from people that are just like, oh yeah, like you can attract anything in your life. I believe you can, but it's about truly believing that you are worth something, understanding your worth, realizing that you are valuable, that you can do anything in this world, that you shouldn't worry about what other people are thinking about you, because honestly, most people are not thinking about you. Even if you're in a presentation and you're delivering a project in a class, most people are actually thinking about, oh wait, I'm next, or I'm 5 people after her, like, so they're kind of thinking about their presentation. Yeah, they may laugh at you if you mess up, or they may be engaged in some way, but they're probably thinking about what they're doing. They're not so concerned about you. And the moment that you realize that other people are in their own lives, that they are the stars of their own life, and most times they aren't really thinking about you, or at least in that critical way, that's when you're going to be able to come into your own and really be the leader that everybody wants you to be. Well, or the world wants you to be, because really the world wants you to be successful. The world wants you to hone your gifts and share them with the world, because unlike what people will see on the news or even the tragedies they have in their own lives, yeah, there are tragedies, there are hardships, there are horrible things that can happen to people, but at the end of the day, the world is mostly good, at least I believe it is. And regardless of what obstacles you may have encountered, I mean, I sure as hell have encountered so many obstacles. Really, I think the 18-hour drive for me, driving, a lot of people would think that's crazy that I did that in one day, but I just wanted to get the hell out of Dodge from Seattle. I wanted to get out of that environment, because for me, at least at this time, it was just a negative environment for me. I didn't like where I was living because it was cheap. You know, I was working at Starbucks, and I love Starbucks as a company, but I don't want to work at Starbucks for the rest of my life. And yeah, I could have gotten another job. But I wanted to do something more. I want to do something that is actually going to use my degree, even though eventually I don't want to have a job that uses my degree. I want to be able to impact people on a greater scale, and I want to be able to be in an environment that's more positive. That's why I'm moving back to the East Coast. I want to put myself in a position that I have the best ability to succeed. And yeah, that was a bit rambly. I'm trying not to apologize for certain things. Yeah, let me get back to leadership. So I've talked about just kind of coming into your own, knowing your voice. And going back to this, with people, as an empath, as someone that has a great capacity to love and to support other people and to relate to one another, realize again that everybody's an individual, and that another thing is, like I said, everybody has strengths. Everybody is better at something, whatever it is. There's something that every single person that you meet is better at than you. And that might be a really silly thing, or it could be as big as they're amazing at violin and they could perform at any orchestra in the world. Or it could be as good as someone can flip bottles and they can land, you know, standing up. I know that's a really stupid example, but everybody has something that is valuable, and you have to realize that and know that you're no better than anybody else that you encounter. Yeah, you may be, on paper, you may be more intelligent, more attractive, taller, skinnier, more popular, whatever it is. Just throw that bullshit out the window and realize that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Everybody is human, and you need to treat everybody with respect, no matter who they are. And that can be really hard. I've definitely encountered people that really, in my mind, don't deserve respect because they are volatile people. But even at that, you have to be able to go inward and realize that everybody has value, and be able to have an inclusive group of people, because again, you're only as strong as your weakest link, and you should be always raising other people up. And even if you might be envious or jealous of certain people for whatever reason, you have to realize that by trying to bring them down, you're only going to raise them up, because whatever you do to someone else, you're doing onto yourself. I believe in karma. I believe that things do come back around. So that's why I choose not to do super mean things to people. Even if I dream about it, I definitely have dreamed about doing stuff. And as a leader, that's where you build yourself as a good example. You show, by being a leader, you show other people that you can do it too. That despite your obstacles, you were able to overcome that and become a leader, and people will look up to you. And you have to realize that they are, and you have to be a role model, you have to be a mentor to those people, especially the people that need it the most. So I know that this might have caught some people by surprise, but this is kind of the content that I really want to make. I really love motivation. I love personal development. I love changing your life. My biggest fear is mediocrity, being a mediocre person, living my life not to the extreme where it's like a disaster of a life. That's not what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of being fine. Fine is not a descriptor of life. It's amazing that you're even alive. And that's why when I was depressed at my lowest moment, which again, it's not something that necessarily is going to go away, but when I was at my lowest moment, I felt numb. I felt feelingless, emotionless, like nothing mattered. And that is my biggest fear. That is my biggest fear, to live. And some people might think of this as their dream lifestyle, but I never want to live in a little, in a whatever town with a mediocre life, a husband who's the breadwinner, some kids. I want all of those. I want the incredible things in life. I want to have a lot of children, to be married, to travel, and all of those things, and have a career, be successful. I want everything. And some people may say that I can't. And what I have to say to that is, yeah, I will, and just watch me do it. So, alright, well, I know that this was kind of a different video, but if you like my videos, please subscribe and like this if you liked it, and if you think that other people can benefit from this, especially INFJs, please share this. And for all of the other types out there, of course you can be a leader too, and you are capable of anything. Anything your mind says. Anything that you think is a ridiculous thing to even think that you can do it. Alright, see you guys later. Bye.